Welcome guys, we are here in front of the Mercedes-AMG Petronas Formula 1 Team garage, and I'm not alone, I'm here with Jake, Dani and Jarno. We also have our amazing garage guide. And yeah, so we're gonna check out the garage, we're gonna take you with us and get into a lot of details so you will have a full behind the scenes tour with us.
So this is the crazy thing, you're on a garage tour, but you're actually in a live pit lane. This is where we get to see the good stuff. Come on, if you wouldn't mind just wiping your feet, just to keep it nice and dry, because in the real world, what we want to do is we want to make sure the mechanics don't slip over. Just as we come into the garage, I've got to point this out, which if you're a race fan, then you'll know that Niki Lauda was a massive part of our team and still very much is. So since his passing, the cap's been on there and he's still very much with us. This is like my office. So when I'm trackside, I've got a headset that I can talk to the guests, I can explain the radio calls, what's going on in the garage, and bear in mind there's 60 people that are in the garage.
Jarno, have a seat.
So just a quick comms check, 1, 2, all good? Yeah, so welcome to the Mercedes-AMG Petronas Formula 1 Team garage. This is what the VIPs will get to see. Bear in mind, you're really lucky because you're allowed to film in here, but our VVIPs, it doesn't matter who they are, they're not allowed to film because of course there's some sensitive internal stuff that we see around the car, so yeah, just be mindful. This is where we get to see the good stuff, this is the cars. Is the #1 mechanic for George Russell, so he looks after all of the stuff over there. Down this side we've got all of the engineers, so if you recognise Bono's voice, so that's where it comes from over here, and then over on the other side is Marcus Dudley. At the moment we've got some of our system engineers, otherwise known as rack men. So the racks that we just saw over there, anything that's electronical is either looked after by Rob or Coxie. So you can imagine these modern Formula 1 cars are covered in sensors and complex electronic systems. So they know what, well, they say they know what's going on there. I've got absolute trust and faith in them. This is the crazy thing, you're on a garage tour, but you're actually in a live pit lane. So right here, beyond that side, that's where the cars from the F3 are coming through. So I don't know whether we'll get to see them. Out on the pit wall as well, all of the F3 teams or the F2 teams, they use our pit wall and they just have a basic set of telemetry that the FIA will supply them, and they can see the weather, which as you can see is pretty bad here, and then all the timing screens as well. So you can see here, this is all created back at the factory at Brackley, where your esports base is as well. And this, we're now putting covers over the engine for cooling. Because it's so cold here, we actually can keep the heat in the engine. And of course, if you put that over the top, that reduces the amount of drag that you have. You can see now, it's sort of like you don't know where to stand because there's so many people, and this is the garage quiet, you know. But if you look down here, we've got a selection of front wings. So one of the big developments was at Silverstone, we brought a new front wing. So I don't know whether you can see a difference in design here. This is really easy to see. If you see this one just back here, a little bit more angular, but this one almost like a shark fin. So that was introduced at Silverstone, it was raced at Hungary as well, and now will be raced here at Spa. But also, you've seen the factory, you've seen the facilities, it's like a laboratory. Here, they've got this workbench, you know, they've got the Hoover down there as well, they've got a bench vise as well. So all of this stuff, it's very basic stuff, but what they can actually create and what they can repair in a short space of time is amazing. Just over the back here as well, this just looks like a load of flight cases, right? Inside of here you can see brake material. Each set of brakes, discs and pads are around 10,000 euros a set. This race truck here, this has actually got a laboratory. We'll see how busy it is. We'll just give them a little bit of a wave, just say hello to our Petronas lab. So they do all the fuel and all the oil and the lubricant tests in there. But it's not just for Mercedes. Mercedes supply Williams, McLaren and Aston Martin as well. So all of those teams have to do. I just mentioned about the helmet. There's Lewis's helmet just going through there. Yeah, so all of the tests for those teams have to be done in our laboratory. And then over here, these are the serious race trucks. I'll tell you now, this is the best place to be on a cold, wet Spa, is coming into the race trucks where we're heating the tyres up, because it's a little bit warmer in here. So remember I said to you about red crew and blue crew? Anything that's in a red blanket is for Lewis, anything that's in a blue blanket is for George. And you can see that they're turned on now, and when we get closer to the session, we're allowed to heat them for 2 hours. And depending on the compound, like if you've got the intermediates, you're allowed to heat them up to 60 degrees. But for the full slicks, which if the weather's bad here this weekend, we probably won't get to see, you can go up to 70 degrees, 70 degrees Celsius for 2 hours as well. So that gives you a little bit of an idea. Upstairs, unfortunately, that's somewhere even I can't take you, because that's where all the engineers are briefing with Lewis and George now before the session. But all of that is in constant communication with Brackley, and all of the data, it's about 1/10 of a second, so they actually see the data before they see the TV broadcast. Well, hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea of the tour, and yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed it.